the hell's going on? Yes. It's Boxing Talk with Raphie. 69. And yeah, we're doing it. Boxing Talk with Raphie. For those who have not been here before, it's where we come and talk boxing and other related topics, and sometimes non-related topics. This week we have plenty to talk about. We always have plenty to talk about, but this week in particular, we're going to be looking at, obviously, the Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. Let me put this, manage this thing over here. Okay, that's sorted. We're going to be looking at Callum Smith versus John Ryder. And of course, we have to address anybody who's seen the video, my video about from Mayweather Senior, directed to the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Anybody who's seen that video knows we're gonna have to touch on that too. Mayweather Senior describes what he's seen these days as half-assed fighting. Half-assing it. And of course, you will have noticed, the more observant ones amongst you will have noticed the title of this particular episode is Splendid Insignificance. How significant was what we saw from Wilder versus Ortiz? You're going to be getting into that. You're going to be chopping that up. I just read that. From Big Boys Boxing. Okay, let me get the invitations out immediately. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what? FaceTime? You gonna get some FaceTime? You want some FaceTime? Okay, let me get the uplighting. Let me get the pad in effect. Where are we? Let's turn the volume down on this baby. Okay, uplighting in effect. Link in the chat. What's going on here? What's going on? Oh, I know where I need to start. What's going on? I know where I need to start. Big Boys Boxing in the building. How you doing, Big Boys Boxing?
Not too bad, brother. And yourself?
Yeah. Hectic day. Monday is a hectic day for me. Just have enough time to get in, grab a shower, grab something to eat, sit at the computer, put all the damn details of the thing in, and then it's showtime. It's time to go. Get the shout on the road.
It's those damn details, eh? They chew up some time.
They chew up sometimes. I wish people knew. I wish people knew how much time it chews up. In fact, I'm going to probably start putting a stopwatch on on the activities of making a video and just break it down. How much time is spent the research, how much time is spent actually recording it, and how much time is spent with the details.
Yeah, you can be well prepared and have it all written out, but then the news changes.
Yeah.
And then you got to do it all over again. So
then you got to do all over again. It's those little damn details. It's those damn details. But hey, that's what we signed up for.
it sure is.
That's what we signed up for. And I forgot I made a promise. I made a promise to David Mason. He wrote me a long piece, had about 6 or 7 questions in the piece, and said he would appreciate it if I would respond. That was yesterday. I said I would respond rather than type it all out. I will respond live on the show. David Mason, here it is. I'm scrolling down. I was looking for it. Okay, boom. So, David Mason, I'm going to respond to your list of questions live on the show. This is how we're going to open the show. I haven't actually looked at your list until now. Okay, where are we? Where's the list? Where is the list? I'm not one to disappear when I'm... Oh, hold on, what's going on here? David Mason says, I'm not one... Damn, David Mason likes writing. It's a long thing again. David Mason says, I'm not one to disappear when I'm wrong, and we'll be on these boards after the fight, come what may. If Joshua beats Ruiz by legitimate means, then I'll be the first to stand up and applaud him. He disappointed me in that he has sculpted his body to appease his sponsors and for his commercial endorsement contracts, rather than to build a body more suitable for boxing. I also think that it is dreadful that he is willing for payment to endorse products that he does not use himself. Lucozade, for example. Okay. Well, before I get into your answers, before I get into the questions, David Mason, why would you single out Anthony Joshua for, as you say, using products that he does not use himself? When you see someone advertising a product, do you automatically believe that that individual uses that brand? If you see, I don't know, name me a woman. Okay, let's go back in time. Let's say Natalie Imbruglia, because I know Big Boys Boxing is not going to know who that is.
I do.
let's say Natalie Imbruglia. If you see her advertising Daz, and you know that Daz is on the cheaper end of the scale in terms of washing powders, do you seriously believe that someone who I would have to imagine, has a few shillings in her coffers would be using the cheapest brand, even though she's advertising it, David? Do you
paid to be said, man? That's it.
It's paid to be said. Do you seriously, as a grown man, as a grown adult who's married, raised kids, had them fly the coop, are you seriously telling me, David Mason, that you believe that if you see an individual who is being paid to advertise an item, any kind of item, a product, let's say product, are you seriously trying to tell me that throughout your years you had been under the belief that that celebrity, shall we call him, that celebrity actually uses that product? David Mason, I find that very, very hard to believe. And if you are aware that celebrities or personalities, sportsmen, sportswomen, whoever, people of note, people who have some level of public recognition, if you are seriously telling me that for all these years you have believed, you have been living under the misapprehension that when you see one of these aforementioned people advertising something, you automatically have believed up until this point that that individual actually uses that product. Is that what you're telling me, David Mason? Is that what you are telling me, David Mason? Okay, you say, I'll carry on. You say Lucozade, for example. That is just sheer unadulterated greed for money. That's interesting. That's interesting. Of all the celebrities or personalities in the years of TV, in the years of television, from television's inception, who have endorsed products that they don't use, that they may or may not use, you choose to vent your spleen, David Mason. You choose to vent your spleen at Anthony Joshua as if he is somehow apart from the pack, as if he has to operate under different rules. It's as if you're holding him to a higher standard. And if so, why are you holding Anthony Joshua to a higher standard than anyone else, David Mason? Now, everyone who advertises Lucozade has to drink it, but Joshua does. Is that what you're telling me, David Mason? I continue. That is sheer, unadulterated greed for money, and not a trait I think should be admired in anyone. So you believe Joshua to be more covetous of money than the next man? You think he has a greater desire for money than the next sportsman? You think his desire for money is greater than any of his peers? These are some very high standards you're holding Anthony Joshua to, David Mason. I mean, he's not running for the priesthood. He's not trying to be the Pope. He doesn't want to get into the Vatican. These are some very, 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 very high standards you're holding him to there. Big Boys Boxing.
Yeah, well, you see some athletes endorsing products that they actually believe in, but it comes down to the individual. If they want to sell out to get money, regardless of what the product is, then it's up to them. But a lot of athletes, like over here, Kieran Reid endorses Colgate toothpaste, and he doesn't sell out for anything else. So, that's up to him, and you can make a judgment on their character by how easily they sell out for what products, if you like, and that is up to you. So,
sell out. So if an individual, Big Boys Boxing, you're saying if an individual advertises a product they don't use, they have sold out.
Well, to a degree, yeah, I guess you could say they have. I don't know whether they think about it at the time as putting their integrity on the line, as in selling out or not. But for most professional athletes, it's just business.
Well, you see, that's my approach. If I'm an athlete, a professional athlete, excuse me, the bubbles in that drink, and I'm approached, or my management, there's a procedure. The company who are interested in acquiring your skills will go through your management company. The management company listen to the proposal. They come to the talent, the sportsman, the musician, whoever, the actor, actress, whoever, and they come with the proposal, and they'll give you their recommendations of the proposal, whether they think it's a good idea, whether they think the price is right or needs to go up a little bit, and ultimately whether you should take the endorsement or not. So from my point of view, I think it's a business decision. I don't think an individual has to be emotionally involved or invested in the thing. I mean, if it's something that's harming the earth, if it's something like something that you know is going to be detrimental to people's health, I don't know, or cigarettes, for example. For example, when they used to advertise cigarettes, if you had the option of advertising cigarettes or not, and you chose, and you were a non-smoker, let's say, and you then chose to endorse something like cigarettes, something that's known to be dangerous, then I would think that would be unethical, and the term selling out could be appropriate.
Yeah.
But just in terms of a basic product that you don't use, your management company are approached. They think the proposal is reasonable or good, or could be good for you, and they go back to the talent and they bring the proposition, and then they offer their opinion on whether the talent should go forth with the offer or should not. And if they say go forth, and you don't happen to use that product, then I don't see any problem in endorsing that product if you're comfortable in doing so. It's not really down to whether you use it or not, in my view.
Yeah, or like your example with Natalie and Brooklyn on the washing powder. She may not use it herself, but she may believe that it's good for somebody who's in a lower
income,
income. Yeah, and it might suit them, and it might do the job that it's sold to do. She might believe in the product. That doesn't mean she has to use it.
Yeah, that's my stance on the thing. And I'm interested. I'm not in the chat right now, so I don't know what's being said. I'm on a different page where I can see this thing. And I'll be interesting, David. David, understand I'm not. This is not an attack from me to you. I'm just, because you write very long paragraphs, it's just easier for me to respond in live. I can get it out live. It probably took me 10 minutes to say that. It probably took me 10 minutes to write it. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and also what I'm saying is that the reason I'm raising this, because you've raised an interesting point, David Mason. It's an interesting point. That's why I bring it up. It's an interesting point. There will be anybody who has an opinion. I doubt that person will be the only person on the planet who has that opinion. So a percentage of people, David Mason, are going to agree with you. And I found what you wrote sufficiently interesting to address it live on the show. It's interesting. It's an interesting point. I disagree with your point, and I've explained why I disagree with it. But still, you do have a right to feel that way. I find it very interesting that someone would feel that way, because when I see an advert, I don't for a millisecond assume or think that the person advertising the item actually uses the item that they're advertising. And I generally don't see it as a conflict of interest. John Barnes, back in the day, Jamaican-born footballer, played for England, Watford, and then England, very popular. He advertised Lucozade when I was a kid. I don't think at any point did I assume that because he was advertising it that he was actually using the stuff. It's interesting. Okay, and let me go into the chat. What's going on in the chat? There's a lot of people. There's an
interesting comment there from Buzz Lightyear. Does AJ have any boxing qualities? I mean, what's that supposed to mean?
Buzz Lightyear said that.
Yeah. He's talking to David Mason.
But David Mason's here as well. Okay, well, first and foremost, the chat's busy today. But yeah, Boxing Jedi is in here. Philip Carl Roberts in here. No abusive chat. I've told, I've seen, what the hell? Who have I just seen? Brooklyn Child is in the damn building. Everybody's here. Everybody is here. Damn. The hell's going on? John Dale is here. Brooklyn Charles here. Leighton Evelyn's here. You could not answer. Okay, I see what's going on. I'm gonna because Buzz Lightyear was in the discussion. Okay, so folks, we're gonna get into this. Is the first part of the show. David Mason posed some very interesting questions. Keep it polite in the chat, gentlemen, please. I'm doing this because David Mason raised some very interesting points that I think worthy of discussion. So that's the first question I've answered David Mason about the commercials. I don't see how. I understand your point of view. I've never had that point of view. I've never assumed that a person used what they were advertising. Never. Not for 1 second. Not for 1 second.
Just business.
So again, Big Boys Boxing.
Just business.
Just business. Just business. It's business, man. It's business. Okay, so that wasn't even one of your questions. This was your list of questions. Okay, so 1. Joshua has poor stamina and cardio, which he has demonstrated on numerous occasions. Despite being fat, Ruiz Jr. is fit and has gone the distance on several occasions and never looked tired. I've seen Ruiz look tired. But we'll come to that last, since that's your last point. Okay, so Joshua has poor stamina and cardio. Poor stamina and cardio. Relative to who? In relation to who? In relation to who?
Well, stamina and cardio are two different things for starters. But I don't think there's anything wrong with his cardio.
Right.
He has shown some problems with stamina now and then.
Yep.
But you know, he's been in some high volume fights as well, so it's to be expected. And as for Andy Ruiz never looking tired, he looked pretty tired in the last couple of rounds against Joseph Parker.
That's what I was thinking. So yeah, we're gonna breeze through these. Big Boys Boxing is having his input also, of course, makes sense. To utilize another brain. Poor stamina. Yeah, my relation to the poor stamina and cardio, my response to that is in relation to who? In relation to who? So I would say no. Can a heavyweight always use more stamina? I mean, let's take Deontay Wilder. He's a low output guy. He carries his power into the 12 for sure. Yeah, sure. But he's a low output dude. So if you're a low output dude, then yeah, you can carry through. You can carry through easier. You can glide through easier if you're a low output dude. Look how low output he is. Look how low his output was against your Ortiz. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. I see Brooklyn Child in the building. I know there's some more LDBC circling. You don't think I know you're circling? So, yeah, you know, it depends on what kind of pace you want to go at. Look. I see you didn't mention Joseph Parker, but look at Joseph Parker. He takes rounds off.
He does.
He takes rounds off to conserve his energy. How come you don't? How come you're not mentioning Joseph Parker? You know, am I condemning Joseph Parker? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You know, we got lungs. We get tired. You know, you're engaged in a. Have you ever sparred? Have you ever fought, David Mason? Have you ever fought? Have you ever just been winded by the third round and you have to start conserving your energy? Do you understand the nervous energy? Do you understand that you can, just standing in front of someone who's trying to take your head off burns energy, which you have to try and control and then recharge your batteries at certain points during the round, not the break, during the round. Those are very real things, very real things. So in conclusion, what I'll say to that is that I think that Anthony Joshua manages his stamina and cardio as well as 99.9% of his opponents.
It's funny with fans, everybody, if they've got a fighter that they don't like so much, they can pick the negative points out of it and they portray that in their comments.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the fighter they like, they point out the good comments. The fact is, every fighter has flaws in certain areas.
Yeah.
Whether you want to point them out or not makes no difference. They are still there. So you want to pitch one fighter against another, pick the good points of your fighter and point out the bad of the other. You know, you could tell me the name of any heavyweight and I can tell you the bad points and the good points of them.
Yeah, 100.
You know?
100%. 100%. Yeah, that's, well, you know, I can't say it any better. It's been said. Okay, so Ruiz is fat. Despite being fat, Ruiz Jr. is fit and has gone the distance on several occasions and never looked tired. Okay, we've debunked that one. With looked tired against Joseph Parker in the latter rounds. So that one has been debunked. Okay, that's two. That's one. Two, Ruiz Jr. has the fastest hands in the division and throws punches in fast combinations. But is that a question?
Well, it's a fact. It's just
a fact.
Yeah, it's just how Andrew Ruiz is.
Yeah.
So pick a bad point. He's fat. You know?
Yeah. But he's built like a tank, though. It's not like he's got narrow shoulders and a big fat belly. I mean, he's broad across the shoulders.
Yep.
So it's not like he's on stick legs and you know, he's a heavy set guy. He's a heavy set guy, and I think that's probably gives a better description than saying he's fat. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's a heavy set guy, thick set guy. And yeah, what you said was he has the fastest hands in the division. He may do, and throws punches in fast combinations. Yes. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. So I don't know what your point is there. I concur with those thoughts. 3, Ruiz Jr. is a skilled counterpuncher as well as being a pressure fighter. With his fast hands, he will usually beat Joshua to the punch. He didn't beat Joshua to that left hook, did he? He didn't beat Joshua to the left hook. I like how people conveniently forget that Joshua put Ruiz on his ass. First person to drop in that fight was Ruiz in the 3rd round.
Mm-hmm. So I think if the two are punching together, that comment might be a bit more poignant. But you know, Joshua landed that shot when Ruiz wasn't punching, and he paid for it. Yeah, indeed. So, Josh Ruiz is going to automatically beat Joshua to the shot. My question is that. That's 3. He will usually beat Joshua to the punch. Well, what if the guy in front of Ruiz feints a shot, knowing that Ruiz is going to fire back? He steps to the side, make a half step to the side. Ruiz fires back and then counters Ruiz. So that's so you know, how would you calibrate that? How would you calculate that? So there's ways to, if you're saying to me that because fighter A is a faster puncher than fighter B, then that means fighter A is going to win. I will say I disagree with you, sir, respectfully. Big Boys Boxing, you want to comment on that question? Yeah, it's not 100% theory for sure, that one, eh? So, you know, if Anthony Joshua was to try and time a punch after Andy Ruiz throws, you just have to make it quick before the second punch in the combination comes from Joshua. But, you know, I've always thought that has and is going to struggle with Ruiz's speed once they get into an exchange. But there are ways around that too. You know, Anthony Joshua could throw short 1, 2, or 3 punch combinations and get out of there, get out of the danger zone before he can be countered. Keep it long so he can't reach him. You know, there's counters to everything a boxer can do.
Yeah, 100%. That's why they call it. What do they call it? The sweet science.
Exactly.
They call it the sweet science for a reason, David Mason. And David Mason, let me confirm and reaffirm to the chat that this is not me slandering you. I'm just doing what I said I would do. You pose some good questions, some good points. You have some interesting approaches, and I think that they are sufficiently interesting to be worthy of a little segment on the live show. So it's a compliment, not an insult. Okay, so where are we? And I didn't know that I was on camera. Okay, so oops.
Where's that come from?
These damn things, damn camera pointing at you everywhere. Right, Ruiz's skill. So yeah, I think we've answered that one. That was 3. 4. Despite an 8-inch reach advantage, Ruiz Jr. was out jabbing Joshua. That's 4.
I don't think he was out jabbing him prior to getting knocked down.
You know, yeah, well, that's a good point. And also I'll add to that, Joshua was not on his finest form on June the 1st in Madison Square Gardens, New York. Matter of fact, in some respects, you can say it was all 6s and 7s. You could say it was all 6s and 7s. Did Ruiz have a better night at the office, a better day in the office than Joshua on that day? Yes, he did. Are you asking me to believe that all the things we saw Ruiz do, that the fight, the second fight, is going to be the same as the first fight? I say, I don't think so, David Mason. I don't think so. Of course, that doesn't rule out the possibility that it could be a blueprint of what happened the first time around. That's not ruling out that possibility. Of course, that is another possibility. Are you asking me if that's what I think? No, I don't think it's going to go down the same way as it did before. Excuse me. However, I will hasten to add that it has been long established on this channel. And if you want to scroll through my videos, there's one with Ruiz. I think he's got some blue boxing gloves on. If you look at the thumbprint, the thumbnail for that video, you'll see Ruiz in a black vest, black t-shirt, and wearing blue boxing gloves. And I go on to extol the virtues of Andy Ruiz. And the fact that I believe he's the best guy out there, he's the guy out there who will give Joshua the best challenge. So I don't know if you think you're telling me positive traits about Ruiz that I'm unaware of. No, I'm aware of these things. I've advocated Andy Ruiz being the replacement for Big Baby Miller. I don't know if you're aware of that. David Mason. Okay, before I go, that was question number 4. Let me just get into the chat with a couple of responses. Don't want to ignore the chat. Ross Clark says, I'm blue. Yeah, you've been blue for a few weeks, Ross Clark. You've been blue for a few weeks. Ruiz style, Rascal says Ruiz style is bad for AJ, and I don't like the weight loss from AJ. Yeah, Ruiz, Ruiz poses problems. Ruiz poses problems for anybody he faces. Anybody in the division that he faces, I think that Ruiz will pose problems for them. That includes AJ. But we all had an idea how AJ could win the fight. And he didn't do any of the things that we believed he needed to do in order to win the fight. So he fought in a manner that would make it difficult, if not impossible, for him to win the fight. Let me go on to another one. Philip Carl Roberts, David Mason, Louis says, no, Philip Carl Roberts says to David Mason, Luis Ortiz has been 40 for a decade. Let me have a look. What's going on? What can I say?
He's found the fountain of youth over there in Florida.
Who's in Florida?
Ortiz.
Ortiz. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's where he lives. John Dealey, good point. Timing beats speed. Yes, indeed. This is a damn active chat today. Damn active.
Timing does beat speed, but if you don't quite get it right, speed will beat your timing that's off.
Uh-oh.
So
Ortiz looked older than Clint Eastwood. David Mason said, I didn't mention Joseph Parker because he's not the subject here. Fair enough. But I did to draw a comparison.
Yeah, well, he did say that Andy Ruiz never looks tired.
Oh.
And that's what brought it up.
Yeah, well, good point. AD in the building. Toby Bartlett in the building. Leighton Evelyn in the building. John Dealey in the building. Okay, let me get back to the questions. Yeah. John Dealey says, I was on here after the first AJ Ruiz fight. David Mason, I gave Andy Ruiz his credit and made no excuses for AJ. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, I'm going to answer one more before I get back to the list of questions. Okay, David Mason says, we'll see who's on here on December the 8th. I was called a fool when I said Ruiz Jr. would KO Joshua on the 1st. But hey, guess what? Well, you didn't say that on this channel, though, did you, David Mason? Because you weren't here then. So you never said that here. Nobody called you a fool here. And if you were here, you would know that I was a big proponent for Andy Ruiz Jr. Big proponent.
Well, here you go, David Mason. At this stage, I'm still going with Andy Ruiz to win. And I'm still here.
And at this stage, I have this is going to sound like blasphemy, but I call it like I see it. First time around, I had Anthony Joshua as the slim favorite. I figured Joshua might take him out in the I figured he'd go the distance, but I put a bet on Joshua taking him out in the 9th. That was a hunch, even though I figured he'd go the distance. So I had Joshua as the victor, the guy who I thought was going to win by a slim margin. And now, second time around, I'm still going for the champion to potentially win by a slim margin. And of course, the championship has changed. The championship belt has changed hands. Who do I hope wins? I hope Anthony Joshua brings back the belts to the UK. I don't want the belts to fall in the hands of the PBC. We see what happens when the belts fall in the hands of the PBC. We get crap fights for the most part. Very simple. You get crap fights. If Anthony Joshua has the belt, it's better for boxing all around, not just in that the fact that he will fight his mandatories and he will fight the highest ranked opponents, but also Joshua is good for the economy of boxing. Big boys boxing. What say you?
Yeah, good points. I must add as well with that prediction I gave just before, I think it's a very close fight to call, and I wouldn't at all be surprised if Anthony Joshua wins on points.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the belts being in the hands of the PBC, makes me shudder. Sure, it'd be good for maybe making Wilder versus Ruiz.
Yeah.
Who else have they got that are going to be stars at this stage? Adam Kalnaki's on the list.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Dot.
Yeah.
So, how many times can those three fight each other? Because that seems like what will happen if PBC gets the belts. But, we might have a vacation in there, so maybe they won't have all of them if Ruiz wins. Yeah. So I'd be happy about that. But at the same time, it takes away Undisputed, which I also want to see.
Yeah. Which the PBC don't want to see. I put it to you.
Well, if they got the Undisputed and then happened to drop the WBO belt that they don't care about and replace it with the PBC belt, they can start trying to spell Undisputed with the PBC belt and not the WBO, but I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to fall for that crap. I just hope the better man wins on the night on the 7th of December. I'm looking forward to a great card, not just the main event. And just as a boxing fan, I don't really care who wins, but now that you've said it, I don't want to see PBC monopolizing those belts, man.
You see, I hope that I hope the better man wins, and I hope the better man is Joshua. I say hope the better man is Joshua, but I'm objective enough to recognize that Ruiz is. Well, I've been a fan of the guy for years. Why would I not all of a sudden not recognize his skills when I've been a fan of the guy for years?
Yeah, it's funny how everybody starts recognizing him now. I knew about Andy Ruiz long before he fought Joseph Parker even,
Right.
And there's a reason why he didn't get a lot of good fights. Nobody knew who he was. He's not aesthetically pleasing to a lot of athletic fans.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is the boy can fight, and he's not one to be messed with. So, Huey Fury dodged him. Jarrell Miller dodged him. There's lots of guys who dodged him on the way up. So he was lucky to get a shot when he did. And now everybody all of a sudden knows about him. He's the king of Mexico with a Snickers in his hand.
Who said this artist? Something, yeah. Boardroom bully. Makes a good point. He says, cut the BS. No LDBC picked Ruiz to win. They were calling Ruiz a cherry pick. Damn.
Fact.
Yeah. Absolutement. Chat is going. The chat is on heat. That's great. The chat is on heat. Okay, and we're going to get through these questions before we get to the weekend's action. But these are great questions, David Mason. Great questions. We're on 5 now. Okay. Ruiz Jr. has a solid chin. Joshua's chin is suspect. He's been badly rocked a few times and down a few times too. Okay. Well, you say Ruiz's chin is chin. What did you say? Ruiz Jr. has a solid chin. Yes, I agree with you. Ruiz Jr. has a solid chin, but that didn't stop him from getting dropped. That didn't stop him from getting dropped by Joshua. And I'll go further. if Joshua had shown, you see, I believe that Joshua had Deontay Wilder on his mind in that first fight. Deontay Wilder had just gone out and blasted out Dominic Breezel in the first round, if my memory serves me correctly. And that was on Joshua's mind. Joshua, in my opinion, Joshua was making his American debut at Madison Square Gardens, and he wanted to impress. And trying to impress can sometimes backfire on you because you can forget your fundamentals. You can forget your fundamentals, and you can forget the girl that got you to the dance. Yeah, never forget the girl you took to the dance. Leave with the girl you took to the dance. Leave the dance with the girl you took to the dance, unless she's dumped you and gone off with some other guy, which would be highly unfortunate. You have my commiserations. Okay, so Joshua forgot the basic principles, and he did something that he rarely does, and he rushed in. Now, I put it to you that had Joshua not rushed in after he dropped Ruiz the first time around, it could have been a very, very different fight. That's my first point. Now, you say Joshua's chin is suspect. Okay, well, Joshua's been going in there with who made his chin look suspect. Let's go through the list. Dillian Whyte rocked Joshua. Now let's get some perspective on that. Does that make Joshua's chin suspect? And this is my argument to say that it does not. Okay, there's a man by the name of Joseph Parker who had never been dropped in the amateurs, in sparring, or in a professional paid bout. Do you know the name of the man who took that accolade away from Parker? He goes by the name of Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte. Okay, does that give some perspective? The same Dillian Whyte who sparked out, knocked dead Chisora. I'm not going to mention Spilker, but Chisora is not known as a weak chin guy. So does that give you some perspective? Does that give you some perspective? You see, we're myth busting here today, David Mason. We're myth busting. Call me Mr. Mythbuster. Okay, let's go deeper. Who made Joshua's chin look suspect? Exhibit B. Please step forward, Mr. Steelhammer. Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko, renowned throughout the boxing world for having a steel hammer in his that right hand. He can decapitate a man. So you telling me that because a man gets dropped by Dr. Steelhammer, he has a suspect chin? I say no. I respectfully beg to differ, my dear fellow. I respectfully beg to differ. Who else made Joshua look to some as if he had, what does he call it? Suspect chin? I bring to you Exhibit C. Alexander Sasha Povetkin. Once again, I think a pattern is emerging here. Once again, a world-renowned knockout artist. So, in conclusion, I put it to you, David Mason, that when you are fighting the best, when you are fighting knockout merchants, it will not be uncommon to see a man buckle or maybe even drop on the seat of his pants. But I put it to you, David Mason. This is what I say to you. I say to you, it's the way a man comes back from adversity. That, my friend, is the measure of a man. Big Boys Boxing. Oh, we lost Big Boys Boxing?
Still backstage.
Oh, yo, gotcha. Yeah, I was in a different window. So we are rejoined. Sorry about that, Big Boy Boxing. We are rejoined by Big Boy Boxing and how can I say this? How can I say this? The man from Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you longtime friend of the channel, Mr. J. Cotto, the boxing Jedi.
What's going on, fight fans? What's going on, Combat Radio, Big Boys, Raph? What's going on, guys?
In the house, my friend, we're going through some controversial, a very good list that was kindly provided, a very good list of questions that was kindly provided to me by one of my subscribers. And I once again reiterate that this is not some attack.
Yeah.
This is merely due to the fact that you raised. I didn't even read the questions, but I know that you're quite a sharp fellow, and I knew the questions would be of an substantive nature. And as a result of which, why would I spend an hour writing out the response when we could just share the moment with the people in the live show?
Yes, sir.
So before I get to you, Jay Cotto, I'm gonna let Big Boys Boxing. Did you hear the question? Did you hear the question? I repeat the question. And Jay Cotto, you can jump in on the responses as well.
Okay, cool.
And the question was, Big Boys Boxing, Ruiz Jr. has a solid chin. Joshua's chin is suspect, and he's been badly rocked a few times and down a few times too. That's question 5 of 10. Big Boys Boxing. Have I lost you? Okay,
No,
Jay Cotto, come in while Big Boys Boxing gets resituated.
All right. Well, we have to look at it like this. If you're a real fight fan, you know what perseverance is. Everybody knows what baptism under fire is. That's something that I always talk about. Anthony Joshua has undergone that. Anthony Joshua's chin is not suspect. This is going to happen. There have been a lot of legends and a lot of fighters who stood the test of time and got dropped and still, you know, got to the status of being legends. Now, what I don't understand is how is it that people can talk on Joshua, but they can't stand the Wilder criticisms here? When all we're doing is pointing out the actual factual, you know, holes in this game. Let me tell you guys something. Wilder is too stationary. His stance is too wide. He's a one-trick pony. He's just got one shot. The way you beat Wilder is you stay on the attack. You can't let him turn you to the ropes like Ortiz did. Ortiz allowed him to turn to the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Allowed him to turn him to the ropes, and that's where he had no escape for that big right hand. What you have to do is keep Wilder in the center like Tyson Fury does. This is what I'm saying. It's going to take a fighter with the boxing skill of Fury and the power of, I would say, a Chisora or a White. You know what I mean? In order to touch this dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a one-trick pony, and it's so easy. The thing is that people are giving Wilder too much respect for that right hand, which I don't blame him. But at the same time, Mike Tyson, for instance, since he likes to say he can beat him, right? Yeah. Mike Tyson's, for instance. Imagine Mike Tyson against Wilder, right? Imagine Wilder trying to pot shot Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson would not rest up. Mike Tyson would put so much pressure on him that Wilder would not know how to use his fucking punch output. You know what I mean? So this is what people have to understand. While he's standing here and just waiting for that one momentum shot or whatever you guys want to call it, you have other guys out there that are taking notes and understanding that in between that time that he's resting like that and he's not throwing any shots, you can beat the shit out of him. You know what I mean? You can touch him, and this is what people need to. This is what Tyson Fury did. Ortiz had the right idea until he allowed him to turn him. He allowed him to trap him, and what happened? You know what I mean? But I don't think. Actually, Navi, I know that Anthony Joshua, his jaw is not suspect. On top of that, he does have boxing skill. Anthony Joshua, at certain points, he can become flat-footed, but he's also evasive for a big guy like that. You know what I mean? Not too evasive. I'm not saying he's a Sugar Ray Leonard or anything like that, but for a big guy, he doesn't stay flat-footed. He continues to stay evasive.
That is a good point. Big boys boxing. Shall I repeat the question?
Oh, you go for it.
Yeah, it's question 5. Ruiz Jr. has a solid chin. Joshua's chin is suspect. He's been badly rocked a few times and down a few times too. Your response?
I think you touched on it. I think it's a question of the recovery from when he gets tagged badly. For Joshua, he takes a little time to recover, but does that mean he's got a suspect chin? Hell no. He's been hit very hard by Vladimir Klitschko, got put down. He got mauled by Andy Ruiz, but neither time has he ever been sparked. So, you can say somebody's chinny if they get sparked that easily, but he doesn't get sparked. But like Jedi said, though, I'm glad he brought up about that turning Wilder turning Ortiz. I don't know if anybody watched my commentary. I thought Ortiz had Wilder hurt and he was backed him into the corner, and then his slow ass feet let him escape. And as he was escaping, he turned, opened up that angle, and popped down the pipe. Simple as that.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you can't let Wilder rest. You can't let Wilder set up. You have to stay on. This is why I feel that Ruiz, being a pressure fighter that he is, with his attack regimen, he'll definitely get to Wilder.
Yeah, I've said it a few times. If you make Wilder work and don't give him the time to sit and think about what he's doing, he's in the shit, man.
Big time. Look how much time he was taking off. Look how much time he was taking off against slow-ass Ortiz. Slow-ass Ortiz gave him all the time in the world. Man, Wilder could have knit a jumper. Wilder could have knit a jumper in the time that Ortiz gave him off. So in conclusion, we're going to 6 now. So Joshua can't fight off his back foot with Ruiz. With Ruiz Jr. always coming forward. Then he can either stand and trade, which is playing straight into Ruiz Jr.'s hand, or he can back up. Okay, so Joshua can't fight off his back foot. Well, can he fight going sideways? Can he use lateral movement? Can Joshua use lateral movements? Because if Joshua can use lateral movements, which we know he can.
He has against the Calm. He has against the Calm and Klitschko many times.
Right. So he's used lateral movement. So firstly, I don't think you want to be going back in a straight line against Ruiz. So lateral movement is the order of the day. So let's concede. Let's say that he can't fight off his back foot. Well, we know he can fight off his side foot. We know he can fight going sideways. So he can fight off the side foot. So if he can fight off the side foot, he's good, because he shouldn't be going backwards anyway.
Exactly. I mean, for a guy that size, man, what, 6'5", 6'6", 200 and wrestling pounds, like, this dude should not be fighting off the back foot, even though he should, just in case, like an Andy Ruiz again. But this time, I hear Lennox Lewis is in his corner now. He's giving him pointers. This is why
he's not Lennox Lewis. He's one of his guys. Lennox's old guys.
Okay, even better, right? So I think Anthony Joshua listened to what Lennox Lewis told him. He said, if you're going to take a math test, you don't want to go to an elementary, you know what I'm saying, teacher. You want to go to a college professor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you want to keep on going up the ranks. You start off with over here we have the infant school, then you have the secondary school, and then you go to college, and then you have university. And in each one of those stages, you have a different lecturer or teacher.
Right.
So that's the back foot thing. Big boys boxing. Joshua can't fight off the back foot.
Well, he can, but he can't try and do it like he did in the first time. you know, he's going to have to put some mustard on that jab to make Ruiz think about walking into it. If he's going to pour it out there, it's not going to bother Ruiz. And Ruiz will make him work all night and tire him out. So I hope Joshua is going to have some running shoes on. He's going to have not necessarily run away, but he's going to have to be on the move all night and make the fat boy work, make him get tired chasing him around while he's pumping that jab down his throat to keep the space.
Yeah. And when you say move, I don't think Joshua should be taking many steps. I'm talking about little side movement, little step, one step instead of three.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay. So that was question 6. Question 7. Joshua does not know how to defend himself. He has no head movement. He doesn't counter when hurt. Wow, he doesn't counter when hurt. Okay, that's interesting. Can't parry very well. Geez, this is a long one. When under attack, he seems to just hold his hands to the sides of his head and just stands there trying to block shots. He doesn't bob and weave or try to use footwork to get out of trouble. Okay, well, let me start at the beginning. So Joshua does not know how to defend himself. I think we've seen him defend himself on multiple occasions. Anybody want to come in on that one?
Go ahead, big boys. Go ahead, brother.
Did you see the defensive prowess he used against Parker, a much quicker man? He used his feet all night. He maintained the distance all night.
Yes.
It's in him to do it. Some days he does it, some days he doesn't. He had a bad night against Ruiz, for sure.
Yes. I just want to touch on something that has to do with this. Like, people have to understand with this Joshua losing to Ruiz, once again, and this goes out to Mr. Mason out there, so you can understand. Maybe this will help you understand a little bit clearer. When you're in between 3 men because one popped and failed a test in failed 3 tests in 2 sittings, then they got to get him out. Then you got one guy who says, "Oh, I'll fight you," and turns down $7 million to fight Wilder for $1.5 million. Then you go and 5 weeks later, or almost before the fight, here you have a dangerous Andy Ruiz. My question to you, Mr. Mason, is who do you think he was able to prepare for in this fight? My man was in between training between 3 guys in reality, and he didn't really get time to study Ruiz. So it's going to be a different story this time, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with that. Joshua's been in. How the hell can you go in with the people that Joshua's been in with?
First of all,
not know how to defend yourself.
If Joshua had no defense, then why is it that Wilder hasn't fought half of the guys on Joshua's resume then? Why is that? Why is it that Joshua was able to unify 3 titles, but yet he has no defense? So don't you think that if he had no defense, he wouldn't have made it to the status of where he is?
Well, look at this. He's got no defense and he's got a weak chin.
This guy must be a magical David Zellenloff or something.
Now, seriously, I'm asking the question: how the hell can you rise to the top of the heavyweight division with A, no defense, and B, a weak chin?
Yeah.
And to boot, never been spark KO'd. If you got no defense, this is heavyweight boxing. Every heavyweight can hit, man. If you stand there in front of any heavyweight and let him punch you with no defense, you're going to get sparked. That's how it happened.
Facts. Straight facts, kid.
So in conclusion, sorry, Jeddah, what was you saying?
Fine. No. I was just going to say, Mr. Mason, where's your fax machine? Because my man, Big Boy Boxing, got some facts to send you.
So no defense and no chin, but yet he rose to the top of the heavyweight division. Not only did he become champion, but he became unified champion, fought multiple champions along the way with a resume far outstripping that of his American counterpart, Deontay Wilder. No defense and a weak chin. I'm going to have to say, David Mason, my old buddy, that is highly, highly improbable. And I'll go one further and say it is impossible that you can rise to the top of the heavyweight division and unify that division with no defense and a weak chin. As for your latter point, when under attack, he seems to just hold his hands up to the sides of his head and just stands there. He has done that. He's also moved out of the way. He doesn't bob and weave or try to use footwork to get out of trouble. He's used footwork to get out of trouble. One thing I will say, and we've said it on the show before, in a live show before, is that I wish Joshua would acquire stand-up grappling skills.
Yeah, he needs that. Yep, he needs to learn how to clinch much cleaner.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing. See, this is why I respect him, because it's not even about him being an action-packed fighter. It's just he doesn't need to clinch. If he's going to get hit, he'd rather move out the way or get hit than just fucking try to save himself. A lot, you know, me personally, clinching once in a while, using it strategically, like Evander Holyfield did to Mike Tyson in order to fucking tire his lower back and his arms. That, you know, I can understand. But a dude like Anthony Joshua, if he's fighting somebody like a Wilder or a Fury, guys that are his size and a bit heavier than he is, then I can understand, you know, you can clinch on him and bring your weight down on him, you know, in order. But on a regular basis, watching a big man like that clinching, like I can't see him clinching on a Ruiz on the second fight. For what?
No. I don't think he should clinch with Ruiz, really, for the most part. However, it's a skill.
Yeah.
It is a skill which has a purpose. It is a skill which is good to have in your toolbox, because there are times when you may need to utilize that skill.
Right.
And so my position on that is, yes, I believe Anthony Joshua should do well in acquiring that skill. And then you talk about parries. Parries, it's another skill which I would like to see Anthony Joshua employ, work on and employ. This is boxing, and the more skills you have, it is my contention that the more skills you have, the better prepared you are for any eventuality. It is called a toolbox for a reason. When a plumber comes to your home, he wants to have every possible thing that he may need in his toolbox. And so in my response to David Mason, my response to you is that you can't have too many skills in boxing. I would like to see him acquire stand-up grappling skills and a parry.
Yep.
Big boys boxing.
Yeah, the more tools you've got in your toolbox, the more you can adapt to any situation. You've got all bases covered. If you've only got one or two toolboxes in your toolbox, then the chances of you being able to deal with every situation thrown at you goes down big time.
Yes. So absolutely. So
hold on. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, of course.
Mr. David Mason, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to serve you with casual papers. How is it that you're saying that clinching is against the rules, and knowing that they know that it's a fact, they still do it and they don't change? Since when was clinching illegal? Where are you getting your rules from, brother?
Yeah. Is clinching
you do it excessively, a referee's going to warn you.
Excessively, but
point up. Yeah, that's excessively.
Yeah, but clinching is part of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, not only is clinching part of the game, but originally, before the Queensberry rules came out, not only was clinching a part of the game, throwing was a part of the game.
Yeah.
Throwing your opponent down to the ground.
Yep. And then just hitting them. And you were able to hit them too. You were able to hit them too.
Yeah. So, you know, let's not get away from the roots of this thing. Clinching has always been a part of boxing. Some fighters use it a lot, some fighters hardly at all. But let there be no mistake. Clinching has always been a part of boxing. And pre-Queensberry rules, clinching was a big part of boxing.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right. You know?
Okay. So that was, that was 8. So that was 7. So I do concede, David Mason, that Joshua would be wise to acquire some more grappling skills. But then you've come and countered yourself by saying clinching isn't allowed. So I don't know what I can tell you on that. I don't know what to say to you on that.
he said, yes, please. No, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to you on that, David Mason. And once again, I need a soundboard where I can just press a button. This is not an attack. This is not an attack. This is merely a response to some very, very interesting questions which you raise, David Mason. So I repeat, this is not an attack. Okay.
I think he may have been better to write out his questions and then just come and jump on.
Yeah, well, he's got issues with getting on, but I give David Mason credit. Nobody abuse David Mason in the chat, please.
No, not at all. Hey, Dave, listen. If clinching is not against the rules, then why does it lead to penalties or even a DQ? Yeah, you just started watching boxing. Yeah, I'm gonna break it down for you. Okay, if it's too excessive, if you continue to clinch and clinch and clinch and clinch and don't let go, and you're not punching and you're getting hit, but you're just clinching, then that's why you get penalties.
Yeah, if you notice, a lot of fights have clinching in it. The referee simply breaks them up, and some referees allow them to fight out of the clinch.
Yes.
So it is in no way illegal, like has been stated by Big Boys and Boxing Jedi J. Cado. Excessive clinching is frowned upon. Yeah. But it's very rare. There's a clicking sound. I'm hearing but anyway, it's very rare that I can't remember the last time I saw someone lose a point, get deducted a point for clinching.
Damn, this shit was like 2 years ago. Which fight was it? Damn, yeah, they kept holding excessively, man.
Okay.
Give me a second. It'll come to me. I gotta
go through the
boxing. I gotta go through the boxing mental Rolodex.
That's no problem. We'll keep it rolling. It'll pop up. Okay, so where are we? Is this 8?
Just did 8.
Yeah.
First, Joshua's opponent. So this is 8 now. Okay, so Ruiz Jr. is the first of Joshua's opponents to purposefully and aggressively throw body shots. Those body shots were really hurting him. He could be seen visibly wince when they landed, and this coupled with Joshua's already poor stamina is going to cause him real problems. Let me see if I can pick the bones out of that. Ruiz Jr. is the first. Okay, so you're saying body shots. You're saying Ruiz Jr. threw body shots. Okay, well, yeah, Ruiz Jr. did throw body shots, and I would imagine at least one of those body shots had some mustard on it. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that at least at one point, at least at some point, then Ruiz did throw a body shot that hurt. I think that's a reasonable assumption. Right, those body shots were really hurting. Okay. Poor stamina is going to cause. Okay, so you're effectively saying, to paraphrase, you're saying that Ruiz is going to throw body shots like he did the first time around, and that is going to affect Joshua's stamina, or as you put it, poor stamina. Yeah, Ruiz can throw body shots again, and Joshua can drop Ruiz again while he's throwing a body shot. He's throwing a right body shot. Yeah, Joshua can come over with the left hook. He's throwing he's throwing a left body shot. Joshua can come over with a straight right. He's throwing a right body shot. Joshua can come over with a left hook. So yeah, ifs and ands, pots and pans. Anything could happen. J. Cado. Are you good? You can hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. I think that can happen, but at the same time, this fight around, Joshua needs to stay at a long range distance to mid range. Keep popping out mid and long. Never go inside with a motherfucker who has fucking sea otter hands. Like this guy has sea otter arms. You know, you never go inside with a guy with smaller hands because he's gonna get you. You know, he's got to keep the distance. You know what I mean? And he you know, when he first started out, he was doing it well. He was jabbing, keeping him distance. You know what I mean? Keeping his, you know, measuring him and then just boom, letting him go. You know, this is what he has to do. But what's going to happen here, I think, in the second fight is, I think Ruiz is going to be more of a body snatcher than a headhunter. You see? And also, I just want to tell Mr. Mason, I highly doubt that you've been watching boxing before me, my son, because I'm 45 and I've been watching since 84. So you can't say that I've been ever since I've been swimming in my dad's nuts. That's one of my lines, by the way. But God bless you. Yeah.
Okay. So in conclusion, you're saying Joshua shouldn't be in fighting the in game with the guy with sea otter hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. Right. That makes total sense. Big boys boxing.
All right. So Joshua had been punched to the body by a good body puncher before in Dillian White when they fought.
The body snatcher. Yeah.
So, and from then on, it was no secret. If you can land good body shots on Anthony Joshua, he don't like it. But also, newsflash, anybody that gets hit with a good body shot don't like it either.
Yeah. You're right, big boys. Like Wilder, when you hit him to the body, you could tell he's allergic to them body shots.
He's allergic to those body shots.
Oh yeah.
And this contributes to taking stamina away from a fighter. You get hit to the body a lot by a vicious body puncher.
Yeah.
Your stamina disappears real quick, takes the wind out of you. So does that mean Joshua's got poor stamina? I don't think so. He took some beastie body shots that took a lot out of him against White. And that's what brought his hands down in the round 2. So Dillian White could land that left hook on him. So it all adds up. You got to put it all together. It's not just picking one point and saying that's going to be his downfall. It's not going to be simply body shots that are going to win it. You got to add them together. And Andrew Ruiz is a very good body puncher. Being a smaller fighter, he has to have that in his arsenal to be able to expose bigger fighters. He's got to get to them somehow, doesn't he? So, it is what it is. I know
the chat is brutal, guys. Please be nice.
Well, no. You know what it is that David Mason is saying that he's 55 years old, and that he's been watching boxing. He said his first match that he saw was something. Yeah, that's something he said here. You know, it's an old fight, but that's the thing. YouTube does exist, so you're not really saying nothing. And my whole thing is, if you're 55 years old, why don't you know your boxing then?
Damn.
You know, like how you don't know that a clinch is legal? Like I don't understand, bro. Like, and you're 55, so that means you're a late bloomer.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we got a late bloomer. We can educate this guy. Why not?
Shizzle.
I'm interested to know, David Mason, is these questions out of a pure dislike for Anthony Joshua, or is it...
What makes you think that, big boys boxing? What makes you think he doesn't like? What makes you think he doesn't like Joshua? What's kind of assumption is that to make?
No, there's two parts to it. I'm wondering whether it's just dislike for Anthony Joshua, or is it because he likes Andy Ruiz that much more than anybody else on the planet, if you know what I'm getting at.
Please answer that question, David Mason. That's a great question. Please answer that question. Jedi, Boxing Jedi, is there a clicking coming from your side?
No, sir.
Okay, no problem. Cool. David Mason, please answer that question. That is a great question.
Or who's his favorite fighter? That'll make it simple.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's not make it too simple, because that was a good question as it was asked.
Oh wait, we already know it's Wilder.
I want to know. But you know what, David Mason? While you're typing that in, while you drum roll, and while you're typing that in, we're gonna go to question. we're gonna go to 9. We're gonna go to question 9. I think. Yeah, it's 9 of 10. Is that 10? Yeah, 9 of 10. Okay, so we're almost there. So, David Mason, keep laughing. We'll see who's laughing on the 8th after Joshua has been knocked out. No, David Mason, that's all cool in the gang. But please, could you please respond to Big Boy's boxing question? And I will paraphrase. Are these questions born out of your dislike for Anthony Joshua, or are they born out of your liking for Ruiz? That's A. And B, who is your favorite heavyweight? I just think Ruiz is a better fighter than Joshua. Okay, that's A. And B, who is your favorite current heavyweight? And while you're answering that question, we'll get on with question 9. It's 9 of 10. We're almost there. Even the dog doesn't like these questions. Some of these questions.
He's complaining like a mother. He's like, ah!
The dog's saying, "Who wrote these? Who wrote these? Let me at him. Let me at him." My favorite heavyweight with the most potential is Alexander Usyk. Okay, Alexander Usyk's just come into the division. So, David Mason, before Alexander Usyk came into the division, who was your favorite heavyweight? David Mason. Who was your favorite heavyweight before Alexander Usyk came into the division?
I think it's Bermeister Vern.
I had to laugh at that.
David Mason, who was your favorite heavyweight before Alexander Usyk came into the heavyweight division, which is just very recently? Drum roll.
How about this one?
David Mason, please. David Mason, please come in. Who was your favorite heavyweight before Alexander Usyk came into the heavyweight division?
Paging Mr. Layton. Mr. Layton, your answer is needed.
Mason.
Well, I'm gonna have to believe what Layton said. If you look in the chat, Layton laid it down just now. I have to agree with what he said.
What did he say?
No,
He said he don't know any. He's a casual.
No, come on, David Mason. Don't let them say that about you. Who was your favorite heavyweight before Alexander? David Mason says, my favorite was Joseph Parker. He would bust heads if he would drop Kevin Barry. Okay. Well, we got an answer. I don't know what I can deduce from that. What do you deduce from that? I don't know. Ruiz. Okay, question 9. Ruiz Jr. has vastly more boxing experience than Joshua.
I mean, he did spar with Evander Holyfield a couple of times. You know what I mean?
He's been boxing longer. I think he's got a bigger amateur pedigree, maybe, even though he didn't make it to the Olympics. There's an argument to be made about that. What do you say, Big Boys Boxing?
He's certainly got a much longer amateur career. And Anthony Joshua's got a reasonably short career. What do you have, around 45 fights?
Something in that region. So more experience. I think it's fair to say. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that. Okay.
He wasn't as successful as an amateur, though, that's for sure.
That's for sure. He started boxing when he was 6 years old, had 105 amateur fights, losing only 5 of them. His only professional loss was by a majority decision to Parker in Parker's backyard. That's all fair enough. Joshua did not start boxing until he was 18. That is true. 18. Also, it's not a question, it's a statement.
Yeah.
That was the end. That was the end of 9. Yeah. So how do you respond to the statement? More boxing experience. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
What else does he say? His only professional loss was by a majority decision. Yeah, that's also factual. So any dissenting voices on question 9?
No, not at all. Except for Wilder is not the hardest hitting heavyweight in boxing history. But besides that, we're good.
Yeah, he didn't say that in 9 though. Has he just said that?
No. I just wanted to throw a little. I just want to throw a little flavor.
We're going to talk about Wilder soon. We're going to talk about Wilder real soon. We're going to get all up in it. Okay, so 10. Ruiz Jr. has boxed in several countries around the world and seems to travel well. Joshua has only ever boxed outside of the UK, has only boxed once outside of the UK,
Okay.
and was knocked out on that occasion.
Wasn't knocked out, it was stopped. Total difference.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I mean, it is true. He's only boxed as a professional.
Right.
Outside of the UK once as a professional, yeah. And as an amateur, he boxed in various locations. And on that occasion, the one occasion he's boxed outside of the country, yeah, he did. The fight was stopped. That is factual. I don't know if anybody's going to offer up any disagreement to that.
I mean, the only thing I have to say about that is I'm taking the words of what Joshua said when he first won the IBF. He said, I just happen to be a prospect who has become a champion, and I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's you know, I think had Mr. Mason and everyone else been paying attention, they would understand that. They wouldn't have that question if they heard the man make the statement, I am still a prospect who just happened to turn into a champion, and I am still learning. That is very humble.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that right there solidifies exactly what's going on with Joshua. So this is why when he lost, especially against a more experienced fighter in Ruiz, because I was one of the guys that said, don't sleep on Ruiz. I even said it on your show, Combat Radio, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, when I said that, because I know what Ruiz was going to bring. The thing is, I knew that Joshua was going to lose because he was in between three men. You know, he did not get to study for one man, you know?
Indeed. Okay. And so, Big Boys Boxing, your final statements.
Yeah, what Jay touched on there at the end, I don't think it's because of the location he lost. I don't think it was because he was fighting outside of the UK. There's a lot surrounding the conditions, you know, the last minute opponents. There was also the factor that maybe Joshua let Wilder's first round KO of Brazil 1 week beforehand get to him. He wanted to put on that sort of performance and jumped the gun and paid the price for it. So I do not believe it was because it was outside of the UK he lost.
So, okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. So, David Mason, in conclusion, what I'm saying to you is that the location was irrelevant. I think Big Boys Boxing pretty much nailed it there. The location was irrelevant. It was the extenuating circumstances. This was his third opponent for the one fight. The first opponent being Big Baby Miller. The second one, the replacement they thought was a dead cert because he'd been flapping his gums about it, was Luis Ortiz. He said, hey, if Miller pulls out, call me. I'll be ready. And then when they called him, he said, no, he's not ready. So, yeah, location, the fact that he was outside of the country pretty much had damn near nothing to do with it. The fact that he was on his third opponent, I think that, my friend, was the key.
Yeah. And also, let me explain to Mr. Mason what a TKO stoppage is, okay? A TKO stoppage is when the ref stops the fight because even you didn't get knocked out. When you get knocked down, you get put on your ass, and he stops the fight the first time you dropped or the second. That's not a tech. That's a knockout because you didn't beat the 10 count. Now, when the ref stops it, or if you fall more than 3 times, depending on the fight rules, that right there is a TKO, technical knockout. Doesn't mean that there are two differences: technical knockout, which I just explained, and a knockout, which is Mike Tyson, out straight on your back. You're not getting up. The ref just said, no, that's it. No, you're gonna kill this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Indeed. So that was 10 out of 10. And it seems like you don't like, I don't know why, but I get the feeling you don't like Anthony Joshua David.
Oh yeah. You could tell, boy. He can't stand Joshua, boy. If he could spit acid at Joshua, he would, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I get the feeling. I don't know why that you don't like.
Yeah, and I tell you right now, I have no disdain. I have no dislike for Wilder.
Yeah.
He can't fight for shit. He's just a one-trick pony.
Well, you know, we're coming on to Wilder now. But in conclusion, I thank you, David Mason, for your extensive list. It was very interesting. I'm glad I saved it for the show. You raised some damn good points. You know, the LDBC would have been proud of some of these points. David Mason, they would be proud of you. They may you may get headhunted. You may get headhunted by the LDBC. They might give you your own channel. They might give you your own morning radio show. But yeah, interesting questions. And I assure you, you have my utmost assurances that everyone you see here and more will be here after December the 7th in Doria. We ain't going nowhere, my friend. Win, lose, or draw. This boxing game is bigger than one man. I know the LDBC don't believe that, but this boxing game is bigger than one man, my friend. We root for certain guys that we like and certain guys that we think are good for the sport.
Yep.
Like I said before, I am fearful of the PBC having control of the heavyweight belts. That could usher in a new era that was somewhat like the Klitschko era, where people just fall off like flies because the action ain't there. PBC get those belts. I am predicting a very cold, very long winter in the heavyweight division.
Yep.
Jay Cotto.
I see that the PBC, which is pure boxing casuals, I see them. You know, I mean, they did it to the WBO, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not going to recognize the WBO because why? Because Terrence Crawford will go through your whole fucking welterweight status. You know what I mean? He will go through your whole welterweight stable, and you know he's dangerous. And since you want to make Errol Spence Jr. a serial face box fighter, this is what you're doing. Okay, not a problem. But now, when you got the heavyweight division, when you got all the titles in a promotion like that, where they don't fight anyone outside, they all keep it in-house. And when we say in-house, and I'm hoping that people are seeing the difference between PBC and Top Rank. At least Top Rank didn't keep their title matches in-house. They knew that if it was hot and they needed to unify against another champion from another stable, then let's do it, right? So Al Heyman is more like, you're just going to see in-house fighting. Okay, so far we've only seen two guys from PBC fight each other twice. Yeah. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. You know, so it's scary. It's very scary. Like you said, it's very scary for a promotional company like this who hardly isn't doing anything for the sport of boxing to have these trophies. And then the most blasphemous thing to the sport, to make your own belt and put it up there for contendership as if it's a sanctioning body, you know, a belt that was made from a sanctioning body. Mm-hmm. So this goes to show even more of the extent of the fear that we have, Raph and Big Boys and everyone in the chat, that I guess now we're going to see all of these promotional companies make their own titles then.
Yeah. Matchroom belt. The Top Rank belt. the Frank Warren belt. Why not? Why not jump on the bandwagon? Why not?
I mean, if Top Rank, which is the oldest promotions out there right now, shit, they have more of a right of making a title if they wanted to, because they bought us all the fights that we're talking about right now that are legendary.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely. Know? Big boys boxing.
Yeah, scary thought. PBC having all those belts, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of it. If it happens, there's going to be mandations from other stables. Are they going to vacate belts to keep it in-house? I hope not.
It'd be messy. It'd be messy, and then of course they're going to string it out.
Of course. I'm not exactly sure with this Tyson Fury rematch with Wilder whether the contract has a venue, whether it's got someone's promotional rights on the contract already. But if it doesn't, now that it's a mandated fight, it could go to purse bid. And if Top Rank win that fight, is Deontay Wilder going to vacate the belt? We'll see.
Interesting. Interesting. And as you may have guessed, David, you're very aggressive, David. You're calling people fanboys on here. Aggressive because you know your hero is about to be wiped out by the flat bloke. Good Lord. David Mason. David Mason, do you think there's anybody in here who was not a boxing fan before they even heard the name Anthony Joshua? Let me tell you.
Haven't heard anybody say that Anthony Joshua is their hero.
I've not heard that either. And let me tell you, that's three. And let me tell you something else. With this YouTube thing, you get demographics. So I know who my demographic is. I know the average age. I know the gender. I know the income of the average Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio subscriber. And believe,
yes, I know where you live.
Yeah.
That's right. IP addresses.
And believe you me, they're not kiddies in here. These are mature boxing fans for the most part. So you could not possibly think that there's anyone in here who was not a boxing fan before the arrival of Anthony Joshua on the scene. David Mason says, I think this room is full of teenagers. David Mason, you have my assurances that the average age of a Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio subscriber is nowhere near the teens, my good friend.
I just got to say, Toby, you sound like a teenager, with all these speculations. And because, I mean, it's not even fact what you're saying. It's just speculation, even though we respect it. You know, but we're men here. You know what I'm saying? I think all of us have about 3 or 4 fucking kids each. You know what I mean? And those that don't, God bless you. But you know what I mean? We're all family men here who happen to escape life through boxing. You know what I mean? So
Yes, absolutely. So I don't think there's any. If there is a teenager in the building, please type in the comment section. Say I.
Yeah.
Type I.
Yeah.
Type I. So, we're mature, sensible people, David Mason, not teenagers, my good man. That is, I rule that is speculative. Speculative. Okay. Okay. But the big fight of the weekend, was Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, and I think we've all seen the fight by now. So my opening positioning on this is going to be why did this fight happen? I'm going to answer my own question before I share it around. What was the title of this piece? What did I title this show? Splendid Irrelevance. When I was looking around at the scene, Splendid Irrelevance. I was not going to stay up for the fight. I was going to catch it in the morning, but 3 o'clock. I was still up at 3 o'clock and messed around a little bit more. And then it was 4 a.m. and I was still up, and they said the fight's in 1 hour. I said, what the hell? I'm up now. Might as well wait for the hour, wait till the damn Santa Cruz Boar Fest is over. And let me watch this fight live. And I looked around at the Splendor. We still haven't got the figures in from the Nevada State Athletic Commission on the tickets. I think that takes up to a week before that information gets released. Hold on, where was the fight?
MGM.
What's that? LA?
Vegas.
Nevada, yeah, Las
Nevada.
Vegas.
Okay, yeah. So Nevada State Athletic, yeah, it would be them. They will be the ones who will be releasing the ticket sales figures for sure. The auditorium looked well attended. The question is how many of those were ticket sales and how many were comped. The reason that's of interest, obviously, is to gauge the interest levels of the fight. And also, of course, we want to see the pay-per-view figures. Will we ever see them? Will they be accurate? And of course, the reason for that also is to somehow try to gauge the interest levels in a fight, which I will express my personal positioning. I frankly had little to no interest in this fight, which was a rematch. The original fight happened 20 months prior. That's pretty much damn near 2 years ago. And Luis Ortiz was an old man then, and he got knocked out back then. So we're talking almost 2 years later. Luis Ortiz comes in looking in better shape. But I mean, to me, like I said before, I mean, because a person looks in better shape, does it mean they're actually in better fighting shape? I say no. The two don't necessarily correlate. So the fact that he was looking better just prior to the fight, it didn't sway my judgment that Deontay Wilder would take him out. I said round 5. That was early. I knew it was early, but you know, with a 1 round margin of error, that could have been round 6. As it turned out to be 7. Fair enough. That's logical. Anywhere from round 5 to round 9 would be logical. So of course, Deontay Wilder comes in to the place, looks reasonably well attended, and he does what most 99% of people expected him to do, which was to knock Luis out again quicker than he had the first time around. Was I surprised? No. My only question at the end of it, when I saw the cheers, the hoopla, the hullabaloo, I was saying, well, what for? What for? Do you realize? Everybody realizes we've just seen what I say is an insignificant fight. Jay Cotto.
Yeah, well, from what I see with the Wilder and Ortiz, right? We're talking?
Yeah, Wilder and
How we
Ortiz.
saw the fight? Well, Well, from what I saw in the fight, I mean, you know, I was watching Teddy Atlas, where Teddy Atlas was saying that it was going to be a quicker knockout than the first fight as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I sort of disagree with him simply because I had at the time, simply because I said to myself, hold on, you know, he's just going to call it like that. If anything, I think the one that's more adaptive to learning would be Luis Ortiz. But going off of exactly what the boardroom bully said, he's very slow. You know what I mean?
Painfully.
King Kong was very slow. It's not even about his age. It's just he's a bigger man. He slimmed down, and to 2.5 months to 3 months is not going to get your body used to carrying such less weight like that. It's not going to make you faster. It's going to take more. You probably need like almost a year to fit into that frame. So it's like, some fighters, they have a great training camp, and they have specialists who can actually have them fit into that mold where they don't feel like they lost anything. But to me, King Kong was very, very slow. Wilder basically fought that fight smart. I got to give it to him because he waited.
Yeah.
He waited for his shot, and all he had to do was turn him. And I said the 6th round, I said, next round, he's going to catch him in the corner like he did Spilka. He's going to turn him. And what did he do? He turned him, So I feel that him crying now because he beat somebody that we already knew was going to happen. And you're fighting this guy for no fucking reason. I mean, I understand if, a champion wants to say to himself, this guy gave me problems, I need to prove myself again. No doubt. No doubt. I understand that. Yeah. But in reality, bro, you were supposed to fight Dylan White. You know what I mean?
100.
Not this guy. But
100.
You chose this guy, so we can't give you any props for it. No. We can't give you the 10 title defenses because they're not the same. Okay? Nope. They're not the same. At the same time, if you want to talk about the level of competition in this era, it's not the same. This is why it's easy. It's easy for 4 weight division champs. It's easy to well, it's hard to unify now because of the politics and the greed. But everything else that these legends from the past, had to go through all types of adversity, in order to reach their plateau of their legacy. These guys are just doing it just like that now, easy, because there's nobody really wanting any boxing problems. So I have to agree with you. It's totally irrelevant, and one more thing. This is what Wilder's going to go for. I already said it. The 10 title defenses, that's done. Now what he's going to go for now, he's going to go for 50-0, right? And that's it. Even though he can't tie Marciano's record because
the draw.
He has, because of the draw, but he can go 51-0 with one, which would be significant for this fucking candy ass era. So that's all he's gonna do. He's never gonna unify. He's never gonna. That's his bread and butter. That right there. So he can say, "I got 10 title defenses. I held down the WBC, and I beat Marciano's record." That's it.
Yeah. I think that's what I was thinking about it this morning randomly. I think he's going for the 51. I think he is going for the 51. Big boys boxing.
Yes.
Yeah, the fight happened. Like Jay said, it was kind of worthy of a rematch due to a bit of controversy, but I don't think it should have happened right now. But then again, I think Ortiz is 40 years old. He's been on the slide for a few years. It's nearly been 2 years. When you get to that 40 mark, you start sliding faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
He looked really slow on there. He's never been a fast heavyweight. He's always had really slow feet. But the Wilder fan base are still going on. Luis Ortiz is a beast.
Remember, big boys. Remember when it was rumored that Anthony Joshua was going to fight him, and they was like, "Oh, he's fighting an old man."
Yeah, crazy tune pretty quick, huh? I mean, when that fight was rumored to maybe be happening, I thought Luis Ortiz was getting on the slide then at 37, I think he was at the time. And when the Joshua versus Vladimir fight was made for the vacant WBA belt, I was spitting tacks. I don't like that. I don't think a champion should be allowed to fight for a vacant belt.
Right.
But I was pissed off the Ortiz fight didn't happen, and then all these LDBC people always say, "Oh, you weren't. None of y'all were kicking up a stink when Ortiz didn't get to fight Vladimir." So I was.
Yeah.
But the fight that did happen, it's done and dusted. I'm glad it's out of the way. I don't think we're going to see Luis Ortiz at the top level anymore. Personally, I've never had him inside my top 5. I've had him close to it, but not inside my top 5. He's a great boxer, but he didn't look very good in there against Deontay Wilder, who didn't have to do much to beat him. So how much credit do I give Wilder? Yeah, he just played the same game he always plays. Wait for a shot, got outboxed, one down the pipe, game over, done.
So that leads to the question: how good was? We have to say was. Okay, I'm gonna include is. How good was stroke is Luis Ortiz? Jay Cado.
Well, I know this much. When Luis Ortiz first started out, he became WBA champ. He was signed under Golden Boy. Then Oscar De La Hoya dropped the ball because he was up in Canelo's muff. So he basically he left them and came to PBC. And ever since then, like he was on the decline. You know what I mean? Then when they call him with the blood pressure medication, I stood up for him because I know what blood pressure medication does. It's not a diuretic. It's not, you know what I mean? And then the WBA suspended him. The WBC tried to, and then they gave him an apology, a public apology. The WBA still kept him suspended. I don't know why, but it's just a point here that at one point, once upon a time, Luis King Kong Ortiz was the boogeyman. And that was about maybe 4 years ago. Now he's just the Carlos Takam.
Pretty much.
His best win was Jennings.
Yeah.
His best win was Jennings. Let me go over. let me do a little investigation work because someone jogged my memory about something, and we're gonna do a little investigation work right now live. I'm still sharing. We're gonna do a little bit of investigation work live. Where is Ortiz? Okay, he's number 9. Let's go. Let's go into Ortiz. Now let's go to Jennings. So we gone to Bryant Jennings, and now let's go to Luis Ortiz. Okay, and there we have confirmation. There we have confirmation of something that is often overlooked. Here is the point where Luis Ortiz fought Bryant Jennings. Now, Bryant Jennings had just come off a loss. Granted, it was to Vladimir Klitschko, granted. But Luis Ortiz beat Bryant Jennings after Bryant Jennings came off a loss. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's an often overlooked fact that Luis Ortiz's best win was Bryant Jennings. Came after
Brian the running man Jennings, bro.
Brian the running man Jennings had just come off a loss when he fought Luis Ortiz. Now, I'm not saying that means everything, but it may mean something, and it's something to bear in mind. Now, back to the matter at hand. How good is Luis Ortiz, big boys boxing? How good is he? How good was he?
How good is he? How good was he? I mean, he's very ring savvy. He knows when to throw the right shots. He knows how to make angles, but he's very slow. He's very low output. And if you pressure and work him, he can be beaten. I think his highest output fight would have been that fight against Bryant Jennings.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of arguing whether Bryant Jennings is his best one. I think Christian Hammer's better than Bryant Jennings.
Yeah. That's the other
Looking
one.
at their resume.
That's the other one. That's the other potential argument.
And Luis Ortiz looked like crap against Christian Hammer.
You see, Luis Ortiz doesn't have any standout wins. He doesn't. He doesn't have any standout wins. Has he beat a solid top 5? He's never.
You can put it like this. You could say Luis Ortiz hasn't proven how good he is. He's proven how good he isn't.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah. It's like to me, it's just to me, Luis Ortiz to this day is unproven.
Yeah. A lot of heavyweights are unproven.
Yeah, unproven. Who's he beat? Who the hell has he beat?
Yeah, well, there's a huge gap in class between either Christian Hammer and Bryant Jennings and Deontay Wilder, isn't there?
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what's funny is that people are trying to make Ortiz sound like people are ducking him, White, Fury, like nobody want to fight Ortiz. Listen, why didn't Ortiz take the $7 million for Joshua? Obviously, he took the $1.5 million because he thought that Wilder was a fucking easy piece of ass.
Yeah,
That's
obviously, why. Clearly he's gonna get more. We have to assume he's getting more than the 1.5, but I say double that to 3. It's still less than half of the 7 offered by Joshua. Okay, you don't want to double that. How about you treble that? So that's 4.5. Okay, you don't want to treble it. Why don't we multiply that by 4? And that's still 6 million. That's still less than he'd be getting for any which way you cut it.
Yep.
Any which way you cut it, for whatever reason, the PBC, to me, I think the PBC stopped him from taking the fight. I think it's some ulterior motive. I would love for him to write his life story after he's finished. His life in boxing. I would love for him to write a book called My Life in Boxing, because I I find it difficult to believe that he would have turned down that fight on his own, on his own reconnaissance, on his own behalf. I find it very difficult to believe he would, because what's the worst case scenario? You get knocked out by Joshua. What's the worst case scenario fighting Wilder? You get knocked out by Wilder. So why would any man choose to get knocked out by one man for less money than by another man for more money?
Right, right. I would like to know how much Luis Ortiz made in this fight. Somebody's saying 7 million.
No way. Nobody said 7 million. I think somebody asked about 7 million. No way, no how. No way, no how. No. So therefore, the question is, what cloak and dagger behind the scenes stuff? I wish and hope that Luis Ortiz will write a book when he retires on my life in boxing, because I believe that there is skullduggery at play. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I am big into logic, and it is illogical that a man would opt to get knocked out by another man for less money than he could have got to get knocked out by a different man.
Yeah.
I could play devil's advocate for a minute here.
Do that.
So why should Luis Ortiz have taken the first offer? Should he not try and negotiate more money?
Yeah, but there was a back and forth. There was a back and forth. So if you want to buy my car and it's already at a good rate, and you can see, I think they did up it once. I think they went from 6 to 7. So they did up it. So I've moved my position, but you're still insistent that I must meet your request. But yet I know the deal I'm offering you is a good deal. We go back and forth. I alter my position once, and I'm not altering it anymore. What do? You want the car. What do you do?
Yeah. And then on top of that, he came out and said that they try to lowball him. And then what was it? A month later, and this is what Ortiz confessed with his credit cap. We should have taken the 7 mil. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they said that.
Yeah, so it's like, these guys just like to talk a lot. There's a lot of hate for Joshua, because Joshua's resume is way better than and I'm telling you, out of 40 fights, it took you 42 fights. The hardest fights you had was Fury and Ortiz, bro, and you walking around and saying that you're the hardest hitting heavyweight in history. People are forgetting about Shavers. People are forgetting about Lyle. People are forgetting about Foreman. This is what I don't understand.
But why did Ortiz turn down that money?
Because I like I said, man, I'm more than, it's exactly what you said. Actually, it's more than sure. I'm more than sure that basically PBC told him not to do it, just to take the 1.5, and that happens. If Al Heyman says not to do it, it's gonna look what happened right in front of. We all saw it. Shelly Finkel, Wilder wanted to speak. Finkel said, "I got this," and shut him up. He put a muzzle on him. And told him, "Well, we're not going to take the 100 mil because we feel that that's low." So why didn't Wilder take the 100 mil? You know what I mean? And if Don Zeeby, if you want me to cut it out, allow me to show you the scissors that I have already used. I have cut out my point.
Where's Don Zeeby? Don Zeeby's here?
Yeah, he's there. You know what I mean? Like you're basically, on here just making fun of, and like I said, it's fine. You're over here saying that people are mad because Wilder knocked out Wilder knocked out Ortiz. Makes no fucking sense. But my whole point here is that you've got to understand that Wilder and them are feeding you lies. They're full of shit. So you're walking around with a bunch of diaper full of shit as well. And you guys need a suppository. You need a suppository of facts, because what happened here was King Kong Ortiz ducked AJ. He didn't. I mean, think about it. 1.5 mil versus 7 mil. Which one you going for? If you're a real man, right? If you're business savvy. If you're really talking about, it's about the money. How is 1.5 mil greater than 6 mil, 7 mil? How is that? That's ridiculous. Then on top of that, you've got this guy saying, they try to lowball us. Then all of a sudden, a month later, no, it was us. We didn't take the 7 mil. They did try to give us a good offer. Oh my God! And this is what you're pom-pomming for, Don.
So big boys boxing.
Yeah, well, just
what are you gonna do? The deal's there. The deal's there. You walk away from the deal or you take the deal. You want it. You don't want it.
oh, I would have taken the deal, but I want to jump back to your analogy of selling the car.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm asking you. You want it. You don't want it.
The situation at the time was, say you're selling your car because you're going overseas. In 5
Okay.
weeks, I'm going overseas. I
Yeah.
want all my
okay.
ducks in a row. I've got to
that's
get
good.
it sorted.
There's a
So-
time limit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
There's no time to negotiate. You've got a good price in front of you. Take it or leave it. He left it, ducked. Simple as that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Don ZB, I will barbecue you, bro. I will
Yeah.
barbecue you in a debate. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh,
Pump
oh. let's not get too let's not draw the fences, the fencing. Let's keep it fencing. Yeah, keep it fencing.
You don't want to see Jay Wick, trust me.
Keep it fencing. So okay, so you take the deal, Ortiz ducked. Do you think, Big Boys Boxing, that he was on some kind of slave contract with he's on some kind of slave contract with the PBC? Because that's what I think. I think he's on some kind of slave contract with the PBC.
Oh yeah.
For not taking that deal.
Yeah.
You mean?
I think
Yeah.
no. What I'm saying is that I don't think he could have taken it even if he wanted to, and I think he would have wanted to. Any boxer would have wanted to.
Correct. Al Heyman, as an advisor, has to sign off on any of his stable signing a fight with anybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't think Al Heyman would have said yes, unless they got that $10 million and he could have got a better cut in his pocket. But, from what I heard, it was the Dade Promotions guy wasn't even communicating with Ortiz and his trainer. That certainly didn't help. But, I'm sure Luis Ortiz is kicking himself with regret. Like you say, he got knocked out for a guaranteed $1.5 million, where he could have got knocked out for a guaranteed $7 million.
So
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's a very good. That's logical.
Say that last bit again. Sorry.
I think Luis Ortiz will be kicking himself with regret because he got knocked out for a guaranteed $1.5 million, whereas he could have got knocked out for a guaranteed $7 million.
Yeah. That's a beautiful point.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think just the 1.5. I think
Cutting in and out on me. Maybe it's my connection. Is there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. I think it's Raphie's connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right. I'm more than sure. I know we're on. I know they can see us.
Did you catch what he said before he dropped out?
Yeah, no. He was asking about the exactly how we feel about what's going on with the money. With people not taking offers that make sense. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. And what you just said was on the money.
Yeah. We don't know exactly how much Ortiz is going to make yet. Same with Wilder. The only guarantees they had was the $3 million for Wilder and the 1.5 for Ortiz. But I did see, was it what's that ESPN writer's name? Dan Raphael. He was talking about it's probably going to end up more like $7 million for Wilder and $3 million for Ortiz once the pay-per-views come in, but we don't know the numbers yet, and we don't know how well the gate did as well. I've seen a few other people talking about asking LDBC channels, did it sell out? And they say, I don't care. So obviously it didn't.
Yeah, exactly. and you know what's funny when people work off of triangle theories, Ruiz beat AJ, so imagine what Ortiz could have done to AJ, and that usually don't work.
No,
you know what I mean? That usually don't work.
AJ beat Parker. Parker beat Ruiz.
Yeah.
There you go. Styles make fights, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. Could you debunk this for me? Is AJ really making $85 million in the next fight, man? Or is that just a rumor?
That's been reported, but I don't think it's a accredited source. I think it's just a rumor at this stage. But that sounds far too good to be true, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I'm like, how he's generating 85 million and he just lost. He got no titles. He's still so he don't need a title. This guy he's still generating millions like that.
I mean, the anticipation for the fight is certainly selling well.
Yeah.
But would it make over $100 million? I don't know, man. Because they were talking about Ruiz getting 13 million as well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I was Ruiz, I would have been like, how is he getting 85 and I'm only getting 13 and I'm the unified champ. You know what I mean? Like if this is true, we don't know, but but the Saudi, okay, yeah, Leighton says, yeah, the Saudis paid 100 mil for the fight. Wow.
That oil money, eh? That's massive.
Yeah, that oil money, yeah.
Wicked. I hope they spend enough on security as well. They're gonna need it.
Definitely, man. Raph, where you at, Raph? Raphie, I guess, is having technical difficulties at the moment. So I don't know if we should end it, for him.
I'll quickly drop him a hangout message and see if he's coming back or what.
Yeah, definitely. If not, then I guess we're gonna give it a nice, classy ending, for Combat Radio. Right now, it's Big Boys Boxing and Jay Cotto, the Boxing Jedi, taking over for Raph, and everybody out here knows exactly what they're talking about. Even the guys that are trying to egg shit on, it's all good. Boxing's boxing. Remember that it's all opinion. You know what I mean? Just like the pound for pound list is all opinion based. You know what I mean? It's subjective. It just depends. It depends if your opinion sways towards fact. You know what I mean?
Man. And we're all fans here. We all have an opinion. There's no need for each other to bite each other's heads off for an opinion. But we're here to chop it up and talk about it. That's what makes it entertaining.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Yeah, hell yeah. Did you hear about Mayweather Sr. saying to Wilder that it's something that damn, what was it he said? Oh yeah, that Wilder's a half-ass fighter.
I did hear some of that. Yeah, Raph covered a little bit of it at the start.
Man,
but I think it's pretty much what we know already. It's how many fights has Wilder been outboxed until he gets that knockout?
Oh yeah, definitely. So, definitely. Hell yeah,
it is working for him though. So we can't take that away from him. He is a very patient fighter. He seems to be a little bit less emotional now, so that works in his benefit. He gets the knockout in the fights that he's done so far. I want to see him against some of these hungry pressure fighters though, like Adam Kovnarski, Andy Ruiz, even a Joseph Parker with his movement could cause some real problems.
Oh yeah. Anybody with movement and that's a pressure fighter, bro. Like Andy Ruiz will spark the shit out of Wilder. I'm sorry, but he would. He's got too much movement for Wilder.
It would be interesting. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look, if you take a look at who Wilder has fought, who's the fastest opponent Wilder has fought with their hands? Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the only guy that got to Wilder before Wilder got to him. Right now, you got Andy Ruiz, who's short, a sea otter built motherfucker. Right, gets under, hits hard, fast, staccato spurts. You know what I mean? A lot of boxing knowledge, bro. Wilder has yet to face that, and this is what I'm saying. Like, you could talk all the shit about AJ, but at least AJ got his balls in the right place where he's taking the tough fights first, not waiting 40 fights later, and then you have 2 fights that are your prime fights where you have the hardest time in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
man.
Oh, okay. Raph says, "Carry on with the show, guys. Internet interrupted. I'll be back."
Sweet. I'm surprised the stream still goes without him here, but here we are.
Yeah.
It's the Jay Cotto and Big Boy show.
Oh yeah.
It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the can't remember the rest. Sorry.
I think he goes, it's the Lisa Bales, it's the Boardroom Bully, it's the Toby Barlett, it's the Phil Walker, it's the Christian NWO, it's the Boxing Jedi, it's the Don Zeeby, it's the Zil Carl Roberts, it's the God of War. That's right, everybody. Welcome. Yes. Welcome to Combat Radio. That's right, guys.
Hey, oh, since Raphie's not here, you want to hear some breaking news? It's probably about an hour ago. It broke now.
Uh-oh. Wait, let's do it. Let's do it.
This is a combat radio special report.
Go ahead, brother.
Myris Breeders has been stripped of the WBO cruiserweight title that he won against Krzysztof Glowacki. They were ordered to have a rematch. They had 15 days to sort out an agreement or it would go to purse bid. But Myris Breeders pulled out and has been stripped of his belt. And it's possible Krzysztof Glowacki could be fighting Lawrence Okoli for the vacant WBO cruiserweight title.
Ooh, that's new. That's new. When did this shit drop, brother?
About an hour ago, I saw it on Boxing Scene.
Nice. Oh man. So he got stripped?
Yeah.
Oh man, bro. Oh boy. Anybody, if you want to let us know what's going on with that, let us know, man. Let us know what's going on. How you feel about that? Wow, he got stripped, man.
Yeah, it was that first fight was involved with that big elbow from Breeders after Glowacki hit Breeders behind the head. He retaliated and needed the controversy settled. We ain't gonna see it.
Oh man, let me ask you something about let's move down in weight.
Okie dokie.
Devin, how do you guys feel, even in the chat, about Devin Haney calling everybody out at this stage right now? Me personally, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. I think he's calling out Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, Leo Sand. He's calling everybody out, everybody who matters. This is what the thread is about in boxing. This is who you call the who is who. You call out the who is who. You don't call out the who is not.
Yes, that's right. Oh, he's brave, calling out all the big guns. I don't know if he's quite ready yet.
You're right.
But we're going to find out if he gets in the ring against one of these guys.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, he's holding the WBC full title at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, Gervonta Davis is number one. Oh, there was another fight that I saw that I thought, Luke Campbell. I'd like to see him fight Luke Campbell.
Yeah.
That would be a great fight.
Yeah,
I think he's probably ready for that one.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? You had Gervonta Davis talking shit about who was it that fought Prograis just now? Smith, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, he was talking shit about about Smith. He was talking about he beat Smith up, make the fight. And I'm just like, don't fall asleep on Smith, kid. Don't fall asleep on Smith. Do not catch Z's on Smith.
He can fight.
Oh yeah. And Prograis is no joke, bro. And to get over Prograis like that, man, I mean, that was...
Prograis really did show his quality in the Taylor fight, didn't he? So, man, I don't think people should be discounting him. It was a good fight.
That was a great fight, man.
Taylor did deserve to win, but Prograis really did give a good account of himself. And what weight are they? Sorry, they like super feather? Is it? Yeah, super feather.
Yeah,
so,
Shola says Campbell Haney would be a great fight.
Yeah, man. I think Luke Campbell upped the stock even though he lost against Loma.
Yeah.
He put in a performance that nobody expected from him. So he's got a bright future as well, depending on who he steps in with.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I just want, and because we are talking about relevant fights and irrelevant fights. A good relevant fight would be Loma Davis. It's time. These guys have already been in the sport professionally, 4 or 5 years now? It's time. Yeah. It's time.
Tank's been talking it up for quite some time. Let's see it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, Toby. Yep, Toby. Yeah, Toby says Tank needs to step up the quality in fights that he's fighting. And I agree with him. Buzz Lightyear agrees. Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Tank is a Twitter champion.
Leighton, I love you. That's funny. Tank is a Twitter champion. That's true, man. Every time he's always going off on somebody on Twitter. Always. But he does need to, yes, Shola, he does need to show and prove. I truly do believe that, man. I truly do believe that. And I just hope that these fights are made. I hope these fights are made. The only young guy that I'm going to accept actually taking the handed down franchise championship in this era, because he's from this era, and if this is what they're gonna do, then he's allowed to do it because he started in this era, is Devin Haney. You know, like if anybody's gonna just take a title, then give it to Devin Haney, and then let him just be let him defend that. Let him show his worth defending it. But guys like Loma, who have been here already, you know, for a little bit, and are fighting and already are known like towards, you know, being legacy fighters where they're not taking that much money for fights, they're just taking the worthy fight, the quality fights. This is exactly why I'm upset at Loma for taking that. And guys like Loma, Stature, should not be taking these titles. Only guys that started off in this era, this year, last year, you guys are permitted to do that. The Charlos, all of you guys, go ahead. Take that, take the trinket. Take the trinket. But guys that are semi-pro veterans in the sport already, that's not permissible, man.
Well, see, I look at it like the franchise champion is just a way of ducking a mandatory, and for some fighters it's suited, you know, somebody who's jumping around weights like Canelo, somebody who's been in the game and proven what they need to prove. Somebody like Manny Pacquiao should have been offered something like that. But Lomachenko, I'm absolutely spitting tax that Bob Arum petitioned for him to have that title, because he's taken away the credibility that he could have had.
Right.
You know, everybody seems to think, well, it's pretty consensus that Lomachenko is a phenomenon, but he can't prove it anymore. You know, he can go in fights, but they don't really mean much.
Yeah.
Unless they're defending the belts that he does have, because that franchise champion, like Mauricio Solomon said, it is not a championship. It is not a title. It's a designation.
All right, give me a second, big boys. Go ahead. Keep talking to the crowd. I'll be right back.
Yo. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm not down with this franchise champion. I'm not down with some of the decisions that the WBC have taken, and I'm all in for this boycott 2020 that's going around. But I'm not going to go on too much about it. But there is a fight coming up this weekend. It was initially going to be Sergey Kuzmin versus Zhili Zhang, and I was looking forward to this. I've been waiting for years for Zhili Zhang to step up and face somebody of note. But Sergey Kuzmin broke his foot, pulled out of the fight, and that was that. But I think it was yesterday or the day before, the opponent has been announced. The replacement for Zhili Zhang in Monaco will be Andrei Rudenko. Very tough, like fringe level contender, journeyman when he decides to fight. He's not a very active fighter. He's been beaten a few times, but only by high level fighters, the likes of Alexander Povetkin, Lucas Brown. There's two more losses he's got on his record. But besides all that, Andrei Rudenko is still going to be the highest level boxer that Zhili Zhang has faced. So it's going to be interesting. Andrei Rudenko, I'm going to find him on BoxRec because he does have some wins that are worth mentioning. But I just about guarantee this fight is going to go the distance. Rudenko's a wily old veteran. He knows how to survive. So I expect he'll go the distance. However, the last few wins of Zhili Zhang's have been very short. I think he's got, in his last 8 fights, he's got 7 first-round stoppages and 1 third-round stoppage. Some of the guys that he has been stopping usually give rounds to elite level boxers. So, you know, it is interesting to see how the fight's going to go. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We've also got Huey Fury on that card fighting a dude called Pavel Sauer. I wouldn't even bother watching that one if I was you. But yeah, it is what it is. Zhili Zhang's finally got to step up, even though it's a late replacement. Andrei Rudenko should give him rounds at the very least.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And now that we have the opportunity, I would like to talk about a fight that for me is going to be nominated if I run into any of the voting ballots, fight of the year. And that's going to be that Inu and a Donaire fight, man. That was a beautiful fight. And the man is back.
I don't know which one of you wicked people in the chat kicked me off my own stream.
Oh no.
I don't know which one of you wicked people in the chat. I thought you were my friends. You kicked me off my own stream.
Oh no.
I was watching my own stream on the phone. But you know, it's kind of good. It's kind of a good feeling, because to know that, you know, I got kicked off, and I might get kicked off again any second now. So
that's all right. We got your back.
The thing still rolled on, man. I felt like Nesta Gibbs. I felt like Nesta Gibbs going on holiday to the Caribbean, and the show still goes on. Oh, this shizzle is awesome. Yo, Phil Walker, bro, I'll be back on Wednesday. The show is back on Wednesday, and you can come in and chop it up. But as you'll appreciate, it's kind of late over here now in the UK. But come back on Wednesday, Phil. I know you want to talk about this some more, so we're gonna do part 2 of the damn thing. I mean, I want to touch on the Callum Smith versus
John Ryder.
John Ryder. I want to touch on that. I want to touch Wicked. Phil says he will be present. Wicked. So I want to touch on that. We're gonna go bold, because this thing could cut out on me again, because I don't know what's going on. I think anyway. I'll call him in the morning. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I think that Ryder, because we're gonna close out now. We're closing out now. So we just got a few more minutes before this thing cuts out on me again. I had John Ryder as, when I say clear, I don't mean it was a landslide, but it was clear to me that John Ryder, for me, was the winner of that fight. John Ryder was actually, in my opinion, I'm going to get to the point, because we don't have much time. And John Ryder was bullying Callum Smith. He was bullying him. He was getting within his range and working that body, working him over good and proper. So yeah, to me, John Ryder was the clear winner. He outpointed Smith. He put in the cleaner work. He got in on his body, and he bullied the man. Around the ring. Now we know the problem with that is that John Ryder has lost several British titleship fights, but yeah, he comes in at the world rating and beat Callum Smith. I understand that Callum Smith is the bigger commodity. This, to me, is I'm not one to cry foul and cry controversy and cry conspiracy theories, but to me, this is not so much of a conspiracy, but this is an economic move. Not to say judges were paid off, but they know who the commodity is. In every fight, they know who the bigger commodity is. And sometimes I believe judges are swayed by the commodity, the bigger commodity in the ring. Big Boys Boxing.
Well, bigger commodity. Sorry, UK fans, but I think Callum Smith might just be a bigger hype job.
Well, yeah. Speak on it.
Yeah, ever since I saw him in the WBSS and fought Nico Holzkin, tough ex-kickboxer who came forward through a lot of punches. He took a hiding at the same time, but Callum Smith didn't know how to deal with it, and I thought it was a much closer fight than what was on the cards in that fight too. You know,
yeah.
And I do agree. The judges probably had it in their head. They know John Ryder's coming up a weight division. He's got losses against stars, but he's coming up to the star at 168, and he's not supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
But in my eyes, I think he did win. I scored at 115, 113. I'm not screaming robbery because it was close.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the scorecards and there's 117, 111 to Smith in there,
mad.
I'm like, get out of here, man. That's absolute crap. I couldn't argue too much with 116, 112 because it's not that far off getting close to a draw. But I wouldn't have been unhappy at all if a draw was called.
Yeah.
But I think the wrong man got the nod on that fight.
Jay Cotto.
You guys took the words right out of my mouth, both of you guys. I feel the same way you guys do. I really do. I'm serious. You know, even though I like Smith, I'm just saying, you know, fair is fair, man.
Yeah. I think it was a fight where it's never been clearer. I'm sure there are examples, clearer examples, but to my eyes, it's never been clearer that the judges just looked and said, well, listen, we know which guy is the guy with the bigger plans. We know who the bigger commodity is here. And Smith has got to win. We've got to make sure he wins. He's the bigger commodity. Yeah, I mean, look at it from the judges' perspective, the referees. You need big commodities in the game. The big commodities are favored. Not rightly, but that's the reality of the game.
The only real big money fight that's out there for Callum Smith really is a Canelo fight.
Yeah.
And if he takes a loss or a draw, his paycheck in that potential fight goes down considerably. So, you know, if money talks, then it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think if Canelo ended up in the ring with Callum Smith, either at 168 or 165, I think Canelo would knock him out, to be honest.
With the way it's looking now, with the way what's his name again? Ryder. I keep on wanting to say Ritson. It's Ryder. With the way Ryder basically gave the blueprint. He provided the blueprint. I didn't think he was going to go the way it went, but since I can see the way it went, I can see the blueprint is now being provided for Canelo, Jay Cotto. Yeah,
I think if they was to get down, I think Canelo, you know, would definitely do what he has to do. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna sleep on Smith either, though. I can't sleep on Smith because I don't think Canelo has seen hands like Smith's. You know what I mean? I mean, he's fought Cotto and stuff, but these guys were way under his weight class. You know what I mean? You know, somebody who's a legit 165, 168, like, you know what I mean? You know, to get in there and to be fast like that, I'd like to see that fight.
Yeah, I still would like to see that fight. Styles make fights. But my problem with it now is that my Risen. What's his name?
Ryder.
Ryder. I'm going to write it down.
Ride your bike.
I'm going to say Ryder. I'm going to write it down in big letters. Ryder. The problem is that Ryder, with the height similarity to Canelo, there's just now. I've changed my point of view. I thought this Callum Smith was the favorite against the Canelo. I really did have him as my favorite. Now that's not the case. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is no longer the case. I have Canelo as being the favorite, and that's the reality. Did Ryder get robbed? I'm not going to use the word robbed, but to me, there was a clear edge. Pretty much almost every single round was close, but he edged enough of those rounds in my book. Was it a robbery? No, can't be a robbery because it was too close. But to me, I will say Ryder had a very, very clear edge. But even at that stage, my question then was, well, are they going to give it to him? Right. So I was only listening to the judges, what the judges are coming. I was only listening to that to see if what they're going to do. Are they going to rob him? Right. Are they going to rob him or not? Yeah or nay? So when it went to Smith, I wasn't surprised. All that meant to me was that, you know, they gave it to the bigger commodity. Very unfortunate, but it's a reality. And to me, it's a very stark reality. I can't remember seeing, apart from, yeah, I can't remember seeing. Well, I mean, the Canelo scorecard was crazy to me, but then he stopped it, so we never had that controversy. But that was a big controversy. I mean, people talk about Wilder and Fury, and it was a big controversy, and that Fury should have won. But hold on a second, any other referee and Fury would have been knocked out.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, yep.
Well, no, I mean they wouldn't have
even counted. They wouldn't even counted. They would have just stopped it right there.
It'd been stopped. It'd been waved off. You know, any other ref. So if that's the case that I've just outlined, if that is the truth, if that which I have said is the truth, and pretty much damn near any other referee would have waved that off. If that is the truth, then how is it then really? I mean, the other point of view is that Fury was lucky it was that ref.
Yep. Well, both fighters and their teams had to sign off on the referee, so
yeah,
they can't really blame, the referee. Wilder's team signed off on it, so
they live
with it. That's the decision we got, whether it was another referee or not.
Yeah.
It's what we got to live with. This is it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's a counter argument to the argument that Fury got robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course there is.
Yeah, that's a big counter argument because on the other hand, if it was any other ref, the fight would have been waved off.
Yep.
Big time.
So it's a 50-50 thing there. It's a 50-50 thing. You've got you either say Fury got robbed, but then you counteract it with any other ref, the fight would have been stopped.
Yep. And you know what? None of us can be at fault for thinking this way because this shit has been brought in front of us before. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, that's what it is. I know that some of my LDBC brethren wanted to jump on, but guys, it's 0041 over here. That's 41 minutes past the midnight hour.
Woo.
And you know that you got to get that sleep for the recuperative properties. You know that. So Raphie's got to get some sleep. But I have to say thank you to everybody who took the time out of their day to come and spend some time with us here at Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio and joined by Big Boys Boxing, Big Boys Boxing's guy's own channel. You go ahead and check him out. And also, thank you to Big Boys Boxing and also Jay Cotto. Jay Cotto's got his own channel. Go over there and check him out. And so, guys, it's been a hell of a long day for me. Thank you, Big Boys Boxing. Final words, Big Boys Boxing, over everything, general and everything, whatever.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, Raphie. It's been a pleasure as usual.
Absolutely.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. And a big thank you to David and Mason for being brave enough to put all those questions out there.
Salute to David Mason. Salute to shout out. Let the cannons ring. Let the cannons ring over the Tower of London for David Mason. Carry on, big boys.
Indeed. So, just thanks a lot for having me in, and
much appreciated.
Catch up with you both, and see you next time.
Absolutely, 100%. Jay Cado, thanks for joining me. Thanks for holding the fort with Big Boys Boxing while I was away. Made me feel like Nestor Gibbs for 10 minutes. And man, and your final words. Thank you for joining me and the Big Boys Boxing and the chat. Your final words today, Cado.
Thank you very much, Raph. No doubt, man. Peace to Combat Radio. Everybody in the chat, everybody who follows him, who follows me, who follows Big Boys. Peace to Big Boys Boxing. All these real channels out here. If you want to join me, just check out. Look for the Boxing Jedi. That's my channel, guys. You know what I'm saying? And we all one community, bro. You know what I mean? And once again, thank you, Raph, man, and keep up the good work, brother. Thank you so much.
100%. So
you too, big boys. You too. Keep up the good work, man. Hell yeah.
Thanks, brother. And you.
Yeah. So, and once again, a big thank you to these guys for holding the fort when I had technical difficulties. I paid good money for this thing. heads will roll. I'm joking. It's all good. It's the Lisa Bayliss. It's the Aaron Mason. It's the Toby Bartlett. It's the Phil Walker. It's the Phil Carl Roberts, the boardroom bully. Who else we got? We got the Lisa Bayliss, the Toby Bartlett, the Cristiano Woo Woo, the Leighton Evelyn, the God of War, and many, 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 many more. Okay, guys, it's been a good one. It's been an eventful one. It's Boxing Talk with Raphie. Where are we? 69. Boxing Talk with Raphie, 69. Much appreciation for your attendance. Remember, follow me on Twitter. Anybody who has not smashed the like button, kindly do so. Anybody who has not smashed the subscribe button, please kindly do so. It's Boxing Talk with Raphie. Where am I? What screen am I on? Yeah. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comment, it's the shares, and it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And all that's left for me to say is blessed.